show for all your latest UFC news and rumors. It's Brian Coyle. It's Sean Stanley. It's the TFM Live podcast. And it's now.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to TFM Live, the official podcast of FullMountMMA.com. I am Brian Coyle, joined alongside with me. He's 1,000 miles away, but it's like we're talking to each other in the same room. We're talking some UFC. We're talking some MMA. We're expanding upon the outside the UFC bubble here. Sean Stanley, what is going on, my friend?
Not much, Brian. How you doing today, man? I'm doing good down here, except a little sulking, but hey, it's all good.
It's all right. It's you know what? It was a weekend in MMA that I thought could have been really cool, and it's like when you expect something really like you're waiting for that big present on Christmas. It's like, oh, this is gonna be it could be really fun, and you get it, and it's a sweater. I mean, it's serviceable. You can wear a sweater, but it's not as cool as an Xbox One or anything of that kind of nature. And that's what we got at the Bellator event, Dynamite I. The fuse was lit, but it never went off. I didn't think it was.
I didn't think so as well. I mean, you had an injury to King Mo. Actually, the two fighters, and then you had a guy from the beginning card step into fighting Phil Davis. Then the whole Tito Ortiz. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like you're saying, everything was there to be. A dynamite card, and it really didn't deliver on the card.
No, it did not, and it was a weird. When you think about it, we're getting into a lot of stuff. There's obviously one big news item that we're gonna hit.
Yeah, I was trying to dance around that.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposedly, according to MMAfighting.com, Nielsen sources said Bellator's preliminary live average viewership landed about at 800,000. Show peaked at 930,000, which, I mean, if you're looking back, Kimbo and Shamrock drew 1.6 million on Spike. Not what you want out of your supposed biggest night ever. Indoor fireworks, a crazy ass ring announcer. I don't know where they got that dude, but he is just insane.
Bunch of stuff in that guy. Goodness gracious.
I don't know. Obviously, Tito Ortiz and Liam McGarry in the main event. Phil Davis, as we mentioned, winning the light heavyweight tournament. There was kickboxing on the card, which didn't really work as well as they thought it would. They didn't really mesh together. And then, of course, the groundbreaking news of where we finally find out where Fedor Emelianenko, the greatest heavyweight arguably of all time, and the last emperor, as he's like to be known, and he says, I am fighter, but I don't understand why, if he's a fighter, he's not going to the UFC. He, in fact, is not even signing with Bellator. He signed an exclusive fight deal with former Pride head Nobuyuki Sakibara, and he's launching a new promotion, which we don't have the name of yet, which is a little odd, but the former Pride head will launch a event on New Year's Eve, which is, it will be tape delay on Spike TV, which,
yay,
again, yeah, weird. And Fedor on New Year's Eve, of course, we've seen that before, so it's nothing new here. And he's fighting. He's not signed with Bellator. It will be on Spike, and you'll see him on Spike TV. But he signed. It's supposedly, according to SB Nation's Luke Thomas, it's a 2-fight deal, which, I mean, takes him out of UFC 200. That's not the greatest thing in the world. I mean, if you're the UFC, and Dana White had repeatedly said, "When I know, everyone else will know," and there's a reason why he said that, because Fedor went with somebody he knew really didn't take the path that everyone wanted him to, the path that probably the most challenging. And I'm really kind of I don't get it. The fight's going to be in a ring, not a cage. Bellator fighters will be on the court, but it's not a Bellator promotion. It's a little sketchy. It's just from my perspective. What do you think, Sean?
It's very sketchy, to say the least. I think this was, I don't think Bellator had the money to probably sign him, and they made some kind of deal with Sakibara or whatever they're doing here. But very interesting that he wouldn't go to where the tougher competition is, and now he's basically took the easier road, the path that he knew.
Yeah, and the thing is here, it's with Spike TV. This promotion is going to get it, like is in bed essentially with Spike TV. And on New Year's Eve, there's a lot of things going on. Besides just the basic traffic of all the New Year's Eve shows that you'll get on the big four networks, whatever. You're also getting the college football playoff on New Year's Eve this year. And I just don't understand the reasoning behind like putting Fedor. Like they're not going to get all the exposure that they want. It's on tape delay. If you're going to do anything, put it on New Year's Day. Like, yeah. I don't understand the move. He's going to continue to be the white whale for Dana White. Excuse my pun there, but this guy, like, if we wanted Fedor to come back and take on the Fabricio Verdums of the world and take on like Andrei Arlovsky and Frank Mir and all the heavyweights, and we could have that final piece of the puzzle to make this grand UFC veteran heavyweight division that we now have. And there we got teased with a picture on Instagram, Cain Velasquez and Fedor taking a picture, like fist to fist. There was no announcement of his opponent. Like it's a lot of to be determined, and I think it was he didn't like what he was getting from the UFC because it was probably what he's worth now and not what he would have been worth back in the day.
Yep.
So I think he just kind of went the path we know, and he'll find out. And if it truly is a 2-fight contract, you'll get Fedor next year in the winter, maybe on a UFC card. You don't get him at 200, which kind of sucks. If that was going to be your you would have put McGregor and Rousey and all these big stars on this card. And supposedly, according to Dana White, GSP he's leaning towards the fact that he'll never come back. So you're not getting that veteran presence. Not that the UFC needs it, of course, because I mean, with the new stars that they're building, I think they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, but you still want a knockout for the 200 card. You want something that's going to be like the drawing power if you're trying to say this is going to be one of the biggest cards, and now you're slowly dropping off. And also, I think Fedor is taking a gamble himself here, because what happens if he loses one of these 2 fights? Does UFC still want him?
That's a great point, because is he a guy, like, if he loses to some no-name dude out of nowhere, and, I mean, he's had enough time off where you think he should be fully rested and prepared if he's going to take this fight seriously. Because I don't think he would take this for a big payday either. I don't understand how a new promotion could offer him something like this. So I just find the whole situation weird and a little disappointing, honestly.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
this was the closest, right?
Yeah, very disappointing, especially when you thought, especially when he was the one putting out on Instagram, the photos and stuff, and it's like, oh, there's the tease, and it was for naught, and you sit there with the, I'm telling you, the only thing that I can think of is what you discussed a little bit earlier on when you said, he wanted what he was worth then, not what he's worth now. And it's almost like, I mean, pardon me for throwing pro wrestling in here, but it's like TNA. They got the money from the Carter family, and all of a sudden Ric Flair's there, Hogan's there. All those guys are there, and it's just because of the big money. So,
and nobody cares.
Yeah, maybe Sakabara is the money man, and Fedor's getting that, the 2 fights, good money there, and maybe he's getting some kind of sponsor deals or something in Japan or something like that to make it lucrative for him. But again, he said he wanted to be, a fighter and fight the best, and he didn't take that route.
Yeah, and the thing is here, they're late on the Japan thing. The UFC has a fight in Japan this week, which we'll get to at the end of the show here. Barnett and Nelson and Uriah Primetime Hall and Gegard Mousasi co-headlining that card. But the thing is, like, the rest of the night, kind of underwhelming as well. Like, I loved seeing Phil Davis back in action again. Mr. Wonderful looked fantastic. I don't know what happened to him, but he looks refreshed, renewed. I mean, he had a nasty knockout of Emmanuel Newton in the opening round of the light heavyweight, and then he had an even bigger work against Francis Carmont. like, dude, he even said himself, he's like, I don't know what I feel so good. I don't know what they're going to be tested for at the end of this stuff. And it was great to see. I mean, he was supposed to go against King Mo, but that didn't turn out because this is why you don't do tournaments anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you got people fighting twice in one night, and here you go.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. The fight game is much different than it was back in the day. And it was cool to see Phil Davis. And it's a shame that him and the UFC couldn't come to terms because he's a very interesting fighter from multiple perspectives, personality-wise, technique-wise, and now he's got this power game to his arsenal. And then what we saw, I was very surprised, and we talked about UFC 200 and all the legends and stuff like that. One of the legends, of course, of the UFC's early days, Tito Ortiz was fighting in the main event on this card against Liam McGarry. And Tito Ortiz kind of flashed like old guy strength, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And looked kind of like dangerous for the beginning of that fight. And of course, he tapped out because McGarry caught him late towards the end of the first round, I believe. But what do you think? It was a good can Ortiz still fight? Was it did it look kind of weird to you seeing him back in the in the cage? Or Liam McGarry get more what he bargained for? He just underestimated him. What did you think of that whole main event?
I mean, I'm not gonna say McGarry didn't underestimate him. Maybe he thought, hey, this guy's, I won't say over the hill because I mean, Ortiz is a legend in the MMA world there. But he came out and he looked great. And I just, I kept looking at the replays, and I just cannot believe he got caught in that move the way he did. I mean, I know McGarry's got the long legs and things like that, but he's blocking everything else. And then he almost rolls right into this the triangle at the end there, and I was amazed that he got caught in something like that with as much experience as he's got.
I think the possibility of something like that is warranted given the fact that Ortiz was just so on a roll. Like this, he's all of a sudden feels like, holy crap, I can beat this guy. And he just goes and goes, and strategy goes out the window. It's like you could go up on stage and have an act or something like that, and you could have it all prepared, but the minute that spotlight hits you, bam, everything leaves you, and you don't remember anything. Fighters do this. Football players do this. Athletes do this. All no matter what industry that you're in, once you put on the bright lights, you either know what you're doing, or however confident you are, everything will leave your head when that spotlight shines on you, and your body will just go into what you're supposed to do, either in a good way or a bad way. And Ortiz looked rejuvenated. He looked hype.
But Brian, let me stop you right there real quick. Can I stop you real quick? Because you just said your body would go into where it would know. With all the experience Ortiz has and all of he knows and all this in the fight game, he got caught in he got caught in that. The body, I just don't see how he got caught in something. So I guess it's a rare thing, just to get caught like that, but it's Tito Ortiz. I mean, if he's going to get caught in things like that and you're going to say, your body goes into, it kind of goes back to with all the training, it's almost like a muscle memory, you're doing all this stuff. And Ortiz totally missed this and almost, the way he set himself up, he set himself right into this hold.
It's a good point. I didn't think of it like that. Because, I don't know. It's just the whole night was kind of like B-movie material to me.
Yeah.
And
the HBO After Dark.
like one of those old 80s, God bless the late, great Roddy Piper.
Yep.
It was They Live. It was it was just one of those,
was it? I came to chew bubblegum and kick butt, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. One of the greatest lines in movie history.
Yes.
But it just seemed like Bellator is the second-rate promotion, and they will never be the UFC. They cannot try to be the UFC. They can fulfill this little role, and it's nice. But if they want to become something bigger than that, they're going to have to change the way they do things. They can't just be a watered-down level of the UFC. You can't have another bald guy wearing a very tight long sleeve shirt interviewing guys after every fight. I'm just saying, Joe Rogan is one of a kind. Like this, it's just the way.
You're saying their guy didn't look like their guy wasn't as good as Rogan?
No, I mean, just the whole look of the stuff itself. And I'm not saying it wasn't bad. It wasn't fantastic.
But they always try to do something to one up UFC, like the one night tournament, 4 fighters, 2 fights each, and it always backfires. Because that second fight will not give you, if both guys go out there and you have good fights in the beginning, they're going to be so worn down by that second fight. And like in this one, 2 injuries. Now you're pulling a guy from the prelim card to step in, and like, oh, they're trying to do what they can to save it. Like, this is the biggest opportunity in this guy's life. Is he ready?
Yeah.
And he wasn't ready.
No. And the thing is here, like, you have to know your role. And what eventually wins out when it comes to promoting, when it comes to boxing, when it comes to the UFC, when it comes to, there's a reason why people like the NFL more than college football. There's a reason why people like the NBA more than college basketball. It's better as a product on television. You get better fighters, you get better boxers, you get better players. People will tune into that. And obviously Bellator doesn't have the finances at their disposal to do something like this. But if you scout correctly and you find these young good fighters, and they have some good ones, but not enough to be sort of a thing where you get Kimbo Slice and Ken Shamrock in your main event. You get Tito Ortiz in your main event. You're just hanging on slightly to the coattails of the former Pride head who signed Fedor. Like, this is the kind of thing that puts you as a second-rate promotion as it is. And it sucks. But, I mean, more fights are always good. So
I agree 100%. I just think that they try to do something that's out of the box, but it ends up backfiring every time for them, like I was saying. And I just... Look, all right, I think the best way to go about it is to say, okay, there's the UFC and there's us. What can we do to set ourselves apart from UFC but still put on a good product?
Yes.
And that would be get the fighters people haven't heard of. Build them up. Make the ones, but now if UFC's going to put on these, 30 cards in 3 months again, the talent pool is going to shrink up.
Yeah. And you have to be smart with what it is. And I mean, I'm excited to watch a couple fights on Fox Sports 1 this weekend. It's a Fox Sports 1 card. It explicitly is. I'm excited to see Josh Barnett back in the cage again. He's a very exciting fighter. Roy Nelson as well. Gegard Mousasi, who, I mean, Mousasi's highly ranked in this division. Like, he's a 6th ranked middleweight here. And you get Uriah Hall, who's a name who people like to watch fight. And by the way, Kyoji Horiguchi, the guy who not most recently lost, but two fights ago, Demetrius Johnson's on this card as well. So there's some fun fights here that you can watch. And people will tune in and will probably draw a little bit less or the same amount as Bellator did.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And plus, you're gonna get to see something a little bit different with some of these Japanese fighters that you don't see a lot of them over here on the, states cards and stuff like that. So, I think UFC is doing it smart. The booking by UFC shows exactly what Bellator is missing.
Yes, and you hit it right on the head, because this thing with the Fight Night Japan, and you're exposing yourself to new fighters, and you get to see these new guys. And if somebody comes out here with a massive knockout or just destroys somebody, then it's like, hey, we haven't had a true dominant Japanese fighter in how long? So you're like you're ever expanding these markets. You're going to Australia and putting Ronda Rousey on a card. You're going to Japan, giving Japanese fighters opportunity to make a name for themselves by putting on bigger names like Barnett and Nelson. And they're slowly, it's the little hype train that could. And I think it's going to be good for the UFC going forward. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a couple other stories that Sean and I are going to hit. Lyoto Machida has an opponent in mind for next year. John Jones is in the news once again. There's going to be some great fights at the November 7th UFC Fight Night, because one of the craziest dudes in the history of the UFC, Clay Guida, is now on that card. Paige Van Zant's got a new deal. We got plenty of stuff. Just stick with us on the official podcast of the FullMountMMA.com, TFM Live. We'll be right back.
For all your latest news and rumors of the UFC, go to the FullMountMMA.com. Now back to the TFM Live podcast. Here's Brian Coyle and Sean Stanley.
All right, we're going to switch things up here, and I'm going to bring us back. This is Sean Stanley with Brian Coyle back here on the Full Mount Live podcast. And Brian, the full MMA payroll for Bellator 142. Any ideas on how much the payroll is?
I can't give you the full figure, but like, give me a name that I could. I mean, like a big name at that, and I'll guess the over under on the payout here.
All right, we'll go with. Is King Mo a big name?
King Mo. I mean, what do you get paid, like 30,000 or something?
No, half of that, 15,000.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Now we'll go to why not? Hey, let's go with Phil Davis.
Phil Davis. I don't know, 70 grand, something like that.
No. That was his $65,000 win bonus. 130,000 he took home.
Holy shnikes.
And you would think the big winner of the night would be Liam McGeary for beating Tito Ortiz. Not so fast, my friend.
Oh, how much did he make?
Tito Ortiz took home $300,000.
It's good to be the king.
And McGeary, who wins the fight and is the champion, gets $50,000 with no win bonus.
Wow. That is interesting. That is very interesting.
And then I was telling you before we came back on, it's got Emmanuel Newton taking home $70,000.
I just spit out some of my water that I was
I'm looking
drinking
at this going,
while you were talking.
Me?
It's funny you mentioned pay, because number one light heavyweight contender Alexander Gustafsson, who of course headlines UFC 192 in Houston against Daniel Cormier in 2 weeks, talked about UFC pay recently to MMA Junkie, division of USA Today, of course. He said, for all the hard work and sacrifices fighters generally make the fight, I think they're a little bit underpaid. The same thing with the Reebok deal, too. I don't have anything negative to say about it. I just think, why take away from fighters who haven't established themselves in the organization? So I love how he, before I continue, I don't have anything negative to say about it, but here's something negative that I'm going to say about it.
But then he prefaced it. He prefaced it by saying, I'm not going to say, I don't mean to say nothing negative, but hey, here you go.
It's like, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want you to take this personally, but everything I'm going to say, you're going to take really personally as soon as I say it. They have a hard time already, so why take away the small sponsors that can pay the rent and pay their bills? Why take that away too? It's really squeezing that last money from the fighters that hasn't been established yet. It's sad to see. And Gustafsson was not done. He was very talkative ahead of his fight against Cormier, saying that he would prefer to avenge his loss against John Jones rather than fight Daniel Cormier. And a lot of people said Gustafsson didn't deserve this title shot, strangely enough, after Cormier defeated Anthony Johnson for the vacated light heavyweight belt. What do you think about that? Like him just completely, burying Cormier and saying, yeah, I'd rather fight John Jones.
Well, I think it's a two-way thing here. One, he's kind of hyping the fight up a little bit, because now he's calling out Cormier as saying, he doesn't think he's as good a champion as Jones. But also on the flip end, I think any fighter that gets beat by another fighter would want that rematch, to where he can say, hey, look, that wasn't me the first fight, or however you want to word it. It was a fluke that he got the win the last time. Just kind of rectify that loss and say, hey, look, that wasn't Gustafsson. That wasn't the real me fighting that first time against John Jones. But also on the flip side, they're going to try to sell these pay-per-views now, man. They got to, and now here's a little gasoline on the fire, I guess.
Yeah, he said I'd probably fight John Jones again. That's the fight everyone wants to see. That's the fight I want to have again. I would do it for myself, but I would mainly do it for my fans. So Cormier can't draw is the underlying tone behind that nice little quote. I just love stirring the pot. I mean, Gustafsson could probably just be like an honest dude and just be saying this, but I mean, I love reading between the lines.
You got to. That's our job. We're supposed to read between the lines.
Job. It literally is to read between the lines.
I want to real quick before I drop this story here, because I just saw another number that stuck out to me. Because how much money do you think, honestly, Bellator 142? I mean, I know we don't know all the figures and everything, but the gate. How much do you think the gate drew? Because on Spike, do they get? I guess they're probably getting something from Spike as well.
I mean, the gate is. Are we just talking tickets here? Because they were in San Jose where the Sharks play.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it like? I mean, the UFC has. I'm just going off the top of my head.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to hold you, Brian Coyle, to the fire on this one. I'm just.
Trust me, I'm not good with money. You can ask my friends. I went to school. I went to college 10 minutes from Atlantic City. But I would guess like $1 million, because if they're drawing 20,000 people to this thing.
All right, and then so their payroll was $653,750. That was for the MMA payroll.
Okay, just for the fighters and stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't include the building, the security, and all that other stuff. I mean,
and also the indoor pyro, along with the crazy ass announcement. Yeah,
I mean, and then I'm sure they had to pay a appearance fee to Fedor there. The last Emperor didn't come for free.
Oh yeah.
So I thought it was amazing that they're gonna do all this and pay all this out, and the Dynamite card was not Dynamite.
No. So what was the actual? That was the payroll.
The payroll for the event was the total disclosed MMA payroll for the event was $653,750.
Did they say what they made?
I'm sorry. That was the MMA only.
Yes.
That doesn't include the fighters for the kickboxing part of it, and it does not say what they drew in.
Oh boy, that'd be very interesting to see.
I mean, I just can't see how they. Hopefully, I guess they tried to break even on this.
Sean, I think we buried Bellator enough in the first segment. You don't have to hit them over the head with the shovel again when they're under.
I feel like they buried themselves. I mean, how do you make a? We were talking about booking and things like that, and hey, I guess it is what it is.
I mean. It's just a money pit. You can throw it in with all the indoor fireworks. It's fine. But continue after that tangent. Let's go to John Jones, because we were talking about him just 2 minutes ago. His plea hearings in his hit and run accident has been set for September 29th. The former light heavyweight champion of the world will appear before a judge in New Mexico on September 29th for a plea hearing following his arrest earlier this year for allegedly leaving the scene of an accident that left at least one woman injured. According to documents obtained by Fox Sports on Monday, he will appear before a judge at 8:30 a.m. For a pre-indictment plea hearing after he was arrested earlier this year. Originally, he was facing potential felony charges with a maximum penalty of 3 years behind bars. But according to a new document, the UFC champion now faces an F4 felony, which I did not go to law school or will ever attempt to do so. So I'm just going off of what the article says, which reduces the potential penalty down to a maximum of 18 months in jail with a fine up to $5,000. So this is good news for Jones in the fact that he's not going to be in jail for 3 years. We don't know what the punishment will be, and honestly, I'm just rooting for John Jones the person here before we ever get to see John Jones the fighter again.
Yep.
Because he was off the rails completely. But I think hopefully we get to see John Jones fight again, but the dude's got to get his life in order before that happens.
Yeah,
Even Daniel Cormier has been saying it in every press conference he's been asked about John Jones. He's like, I just want the dude to get back so I can beat him up.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but like you said, he's got to fix the person before he can become the fighter again.
Exactly. Couple quick hitters I want to get to before we end the podcast today. It's a short one. We are recording late on a Wednesday night because of our, we also have jobs outside of this because, we do this for the good of the people. We do it for the people. And if the people want to get in touch with us, Sean, do you know how they do that? They go on Twitter and tweet at me at BCoyle11. They tweet at the Full Mount and they tweet at SS Sports Talk. The underscore Sports Talk or just
SS Sports Talk. Make it as simple as possible.
See, that's what you do. You make life so much easier for me. You do all the work. I just get to talk. This is wonderful.
This is what we do. We make it easier for the UFC MMA fans to come to a one-stop shop, listen to some news, let us vent a little bit. Maybe we're saying the same things they want. If it's not, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know where we went wrong. Hey, we got no problems arguing back and forth with anybody.
Absolutely. And if you want to send in stuff to be read on air, we can do that too.
We can make it happen.
Absolutely. So, a little quick hitters before we go. I found this story very interesting. Lyoto Machida is taking time off. After he got mauled by at the fight card that you were there. How bad was that Machida fight in Fort Lauderdale?
No, it wasn't good at all. I mean, if the debacle at the end of the fight would have been as good as the fight, it probably would have been able to manage it. But he just looked like a shell of himself, man. It really did.
So it's a good thing that he's taking time off after getting knocked out by Yoel Romero.
He needed to.
So he wants to fight Michael the Count Bisping, which would be very interesting, a fight, depending on what Bisping does against Robert Whittaker at UFC 193 in November 15th in Australia. Now look at this twofold. Number one, great fight. You book it, headline a fight night card, bam. Two legends in the industry. You got it covered. But Bisping beats Whittaker, this is not the fight he takes. No shot.
There's no reason to.
Because he wants to be going up. He doesn't want to be going down.
Yeah, you don't want to take that chance of, Machida doing the Frank Mir to Duffy thing there, revitalizing his career by knocking you out.
Yes. But if Bisping loses to Whittaker, I think we got a great fight on there.
Yeah. Very interesting fight, too.
More fight schedule news. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who I consider the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, even though he only weighs 125 pounds, he wants to fight February 6th in Las Vegas during Super Bowl 50 weekend. He told the UFC tonight that he would like to do that. And the Super Bowl card is traditionally one of the biggest shows for the UFC, and I think it would be a fun fight. Put him on that card, not headlining. That's the key. Not headlining that fight. And I love Mighty Mouse. I have a great appreciation for how fantastic he is as a fighter. But I think we can both agree the time for Mighty Mouse headlining pay-per-views, it's over for now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I couldn't put it more succinctly.
I mean, I don't know what else to say, but yes. I mean, I don't see them. I mean, unfortunately, for some reason, he doesn't draw the fans, I guess, or the ire. Or maybe it's the competition. We were talking about it last week, I think it was. Maybe it's just the competition that he's getting. There's no reason to watch it.
Yes, there really isn't. And staying in the flyweight division, Olympic wrestling gold medalist Henry Cejudo may eventually take on Demetrius Johnson for that title. Problem is, he says it won't be in Nevada. He says, as a competitor, I want to compete and I want to accomplish everything. But he says he will not fight in Nevada, even if it's for a title shot, following the Nevada State Athletic Commission's ridiculous suspension of Nick Diaz, where there's been no change in that, unfortunately. So that is currently at a standstill. What do you think about that? If enough fighters did something, would this cause a stir? I mean, Cejudo is a great young talent, but it's not going to move the needle.
Yeah, but here's my question. They were under contract, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't that be a breach of contract if they book you to fight in Vegas?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, you could do the.
I'm just saying if they do enough fighters, or enough fighters are like, hey, maybe. But I mean, if there's only like one or two, they're gonna. I think they would just push the envelope and be like, hey, you fight or you breach a contract.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, they could always put them in Mexico City or anywhere else for that matter.
They're smart like that, though. They would do that. They they're not going to sit there and try to probably create any stir.
And here's the thing: it's like such a thin division at flyweight, where I don't think they have the opportunity to do something like that. So he's in a kind of good position, but we'll see how that progresses. And finally, last but certainly not least, Paige Van Zandt, the UFC's new it girl, is fighting at 115, of course, the strawweight division. We talked about it last time around, how they're UFC slowly bringing her along. Smartly. She's only 21 years old.
Yep.
She signed a new deal with the company and was booked for her first ever main event as she squares off against Joanne Calderwood on December 10th from the Chelsea at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas. Now, just to let everybody know, that's on Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass, which is a very good tool. I'd recommend it. I mean, it allows you to watch all those old fights, which is always good when it comes to breaking down this stuff. And if you're a real MMA junkie, it's a good spot to go to.
Yes, it is.
But I find this interesting because, remember, December 10th, you get a Fight Pass card. December 11th is the Ultimate Fighter finale with Frankie Edgar and Chad Mendes. And then December 12th, of course, is McGregor Aldo. So she's on a big weekend here, and she's headlining Fight Pass to start it off. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, if you look at their past, the last time they tried to do this 3 cards in one weekend, that was a great weekend for the UFC. And I think with her aggressive fighting style, if she stays fighting the way she's been fighting, it's going to be an explosive start to that weekend of fighting, I believe.
Yeah, and I think it's the perfect way to start it off. Jim Miller is also on that card as well. It's a veteran. It's a savvy move to put her on Fight Pass, because the people who are going to watch Fight Pass cards have Fight Pass cards. If people are intrigued, they try out the free trial, see if they like it, if they want to see her fight. I think it's a smart move all around.
Yeah, it's a smart move too from UFC, for the fact that if people are interested in it, they're going to find out, because either they're going to order UFC Fight Pass. You have to go to UFC Fight Pass. So it's almost like a pay-per-view without being a pay-per-view. You're going to see how many people are actually interested in what she can do, and you can see her drawing power right there.
Yeah, and Calderwood's no chump. She's one of the top prospects. She's got an extensive background in Muay Thai, and I think she's going to be a bit of a challenge. I mean, if Van Zandt is what we think she is, she's going to be fine. But I'm interested to see this slow burn. I think it's going to pay off for the UFC.
Yeah, it definitely is, as long as, like what you discussed earlier about the bright lights. When she gets in that title fight, is she going to get the deer in the headlights look, or is she going to be ready to go? But the way they're bringing her along, she'll have a lot of experience before she gets that fight, it looks like.
And I mean, and she may have the deer in the headlights look regardless, the way Joanna Jędrzejczyk fights.
That's true.
Claudia Gadelha fights.
That's very true.
So it's a good thing that Van Zandt's coming up slowly. Anything else you wanted to hit? I think we've pretty much rolled through everything. Ronda Rousey may not be at WrestleMania 32, which is unfortunate. I know this will upset you very much.
Oh,
she's filming the new, what's it, Mile 22 with Mark, the greatest man in the history of the planet, Wahlberg, except for The Rock, because The Rock is the greatest dude in the history of the planet. But again, this could be a work. She could be back.
I've seen The Rock film in movies and show up on Raw. So I mean, never say never. But I think if Dana White has a say in it, he's going to
be there.
No, I think she may be there, but he's going to get a little change broken off for him.
Oh yes, that is for sure. It's good to see now, like, because you may be antagonistic, at least in the like sometimes in the public with the whole calling wrestling fake thing, but Dana White's a smart guy. Vince McMahon is a smart guy. They got stuff going on. I don't think we don't have to worry about that. And of course,
they're not going to make it public, but I mean, come on. You know, it doesn't just so happen that Ronda Rousey and the 4 Horsewomen are sitting in the front row at WrestleMania. I mean, come on.
It's funny. Nobody realized that until that segment actually happened. They showed it on camera. It's like, oh, cool, celebrity's here. Oh, wow, she's getting into the ring. Oh, wow, she just flipped Stephanie McMahon, Triple H. And then, of course, I want to end on this because even in my early days, not really following the UFC that much, and I have to say I'm newer to the sport than most people.
No, I am too. I am as well. As far as I've watched some of the old tapes and stuff when it was used to get the knockout best of UFC knockout 1 and 2 and all them back in the day,
which are reruns on FS2.
Yeah. Now I can watch it on FS2. Yeah.
But again, I'm 21 years old, so I haven't been around for this long. I haven't been around for the infancy of the UFC. There was one fighter I always anytime I saw his name pop up, it'd be like, oh, cool, this guy's fighting again. I didn't really understand that much. Clay Guida, celebrating his 10-year anniversary with the UFC, November 7th against Thiago Tavares. He's going down to Brazil to fight on the card with Vitor Belfort and Dan Henderson. I just love watching Clay Guida fight. I mean, I think I'm in the majority here. The dude's a wild caveman.
Yes.
And his fights with Diego the Nightmare Sanchez are absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to Clay Guida. I'm very happy to see him celebrate his 10th year anniversary. And that fight is the fight of the night because Guida is in it. I'm just saying.
Hey, sounds good to me.
Yeah. And on that note, I think it's a perfect way to end the podcast. I think that's. You got anything else, Sean?
No, that's it. You ruined my whole, all the way up to WrestleMania. I have nothing to look forward to now. Rousey's not going to be there. At least Guida, 10 years. Congratulations. And I love watching his fights. But
in your future, don't worry.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself now.
Hey, if the ratings continue to be what they are for the WWE, I think there'll be a swerve coming up.
The next Raw she might be at.
Jeez. I mean... But the ratings going up for the UFC, and I think it will continue to do the way they're building all these cards. They're doing some great stuff. Bellator, we'll see how it goes.
Boom goes the Dynamite.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, thank you guys for listening. Remember, if you haven't heard already, thefullmountmma.com. That's where we write all our articles, so you can read all the news, so you don't have to wait every week for our podcast to come out. But then you can listen to the podcast on YouTube. There'll be a link right on the site where you click, bam, it's right there for you. Everyone is on our YouTube channel that you can find. At BCoyle11, at SS Sports Talk for Sean, at The Full Mount on Twitter. I mean, we'll have plenty of new stuff coming with you. It's a little slow week right now. A little quick story is happening, but it's good. The UFC calendar is really going to pick up starting in October, and it will be a very fun fall and winter, I believe, coming from us. And if it's any indication, Conor McGregor will continue to over-deliver with his Twitter account because McRambo came out to play today. And I can't wait to see what movie he photoshops himself into next. That's awesome. All I got. So thank you, everybody, for listening.
I got one more thing I'd like to say. One thing. Thank you, Brian. Thank you to Full Mount for allowing us to be here. And unlike Bellator 142 Dynamite, we delivered.
Absolutely. I think we had our best podcast. I hope the people agree. So again, thank you everybody for listening. For Sean, I am Brian. We are TFM Live, the official podcast at fullmountmma.com. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Podcast is brought to you by thefullmountmma.com. Check us out on Twitter at thefullmount.